Dani Olmo is a player that undoubtedly would make Arsenal's squad stronger for the 2024-25 season and aid our case in pursuing major honours, whether that be the Prem, the Champs, the FA Cup, etc., etc. The search continues to find players to do exactly that, better in our squad. And who better than Dani Olmo? I think he fits Arsenal's philosophy to a T. He's a player that undoubtedly a lot of you are well aware of, currently at Leipzig, previously playing for Dynamo Zagreb in Croatia, came through the La Masia Academy. He's a Spanish professional footballer known for his creativity, his versatility, and his adaptability, people. There's a lot to like about him. The former Barcelona prodigy gained vital experience in terms of first team football, as I said, when he made the step to join Dynamo Zagreb in 2020 after coming through the La Masia Academy. Since then, he finds himself currently at RB Leipzig, where they've got a number of players that are linked with moves abroad and to other football clubs. You know, Dani Olmo, as you'd imagine, is a player that's Spanish. He's blessed technically. He's got a lot to like about him, people. He quickly showcased his talents, people, in Croatia, which Barcelona failed to secure. He was fast-tracked into Zagreb's first-team squad. He made his debut aged just 16 in 2015, people. In June 2019, he was named Croatia's Player of the Year, and also in that same year, helped the Spanish under-21 side win the European Championship. He scored 3 goals in that tournament, including one in the final in the 2-1 victory over Germany. He's actually the youngest foreigner to play for Dynamo Zagreb, having made his debut at 16 years of age and 9 months old. He's also the 4th youngest player outright to play for the famous Croatian club in that regards, people. He made his Champions League debut in the group stages in 2018. Since then, people, for Zagreb, he made 124 appearances with 34 goals and 28 assists, while he obviously played in a variety of positions, whether that be on the left, in the 10, on the right, in a deeper midfield role. The then 25-year-old's preferred position is obviously just behind the striker, and he excelled under former Bayern Munich manager and RB Leipzig manager Julian Nagelsmann, people, in that regards. Some of you lot remember, you know, he actually netted a hat-trick against Bayern Munich, people, to seal a cup for Leipzig, which shows that he can turn up in big games. He's a player I like the look of a lot, people. He's a player I've watched a lot of. He's a player I love to watch. He's a player I've wanted Arsenal to sign for a very long time, as you can see in the screenshots, people. I do like how he's taking control of his development. He's someone that from the age of 16 has been wanted by some of the biggest clubs, both in England and abroad. He saw it as an opportunity to spread his wings, leave his comfort zone of La Masia, go to Dynamo Zagreb, which undoubtedly had to be difficult as a young man, let alone a young foreign player. And it's fair to say the move was backed up, and since then he's been on an upwards trajectory, people. Technically gifted, he typically finds himself in roles off the flanks, inverting off such people, kind of like a wide playmaker. As I said, he's able to play as an 8, as a 10, inverted off either flank, even as a false 9. To go with his technical quality and his versatility, this is no doubt, in theory, a perfect player for Mikel Arteta's system, philosophy, and building the squad long-term, people. I do like him. There's a lot to like about him. At times, he can be mesmerizing to watch with his close control, and that undoubtedly will make him difficult to play against for opponents. He couples that with his ability to drive forward with the ball, whether that's in possession or threaded passes through the middle or breaking the line, something he actually could improve, in my opinion. He's got exceptional ability on the ball. Again, he's come from La Masia. He's a Spanish international. He should have that, really and truly, and he's displayed such on a long-term basis. I do think he could score a lot more goals and improve in the final third, as stated, but he has a sweet long-range strike on him. He hits a ball sweetly with zero backlift and pinpoint accuracy, if I'm completely honest with you, people. Link-up play, great in tight spaces, plays with his head up, has a very good and developing final pass/ball. He's a player Arsenal fans would fall in love with. His heat map also displays he isn't just fixated on one area of the pitch. You know, he's at times you find him as an interior. He's strong at connecting the forward line to the rest of the team, utilizing his passing range. He has the ability to attack the box from deep, so he drives late into the box or makes great runs to act as a decoy for his teammates where opponents are concerned. And there's a lot he provides. There's a wider range of scope for what he could provide Arsenal, and he currently displays at his current employers. He's also very good at pressing high up the field, which again is integral to Mikel Arteta's style of play. For me personally, if there were some concerns, it would be injuries. In the last couple of years, he's missed close to 50 games with injuries since he actually joined Leipzig in 2020 from Dynamo Zagreb. Physically, I do think he can, he's one of them guys that isn't the most physical of players, but doesn't get thrown away and around. But I think he could be physically more robust in that. Goals are not everything, but for me, he has to improve in that regards. For someone that's so good in the final third, has such a sweet strike on him as well, as stated, he could do a lot better. He is a very composed finisher. He favors using the inside of his right foot to place a shot, even when shooting from distance, people. And again, he generates a lot of power with zero backlift. Then you also look at the fact of, Arsenal probably have priorities in other areas. You'd imagine Arsenal are more likely to invest significantly in a striker, potentially a more seasoned, traditional kind of winger to provide competition / complement the Trossards, the Martinellis and Bukayo Sakas of this world, people. I just don't know if Dani Olmo is a sort of priority at this moment in time. He's got a lot of clubs interested in him. He's got a 60 million euros price tag on his head. He's been linked with Manchester City, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Chelsea, and what have you, people. So injuries, the fact that I don't think he's a priority, and there'll be quite the contest for him, is probably why I don't see him signing for Arsenal. But he's a player I think would be great for our system, and someone that I think Mikel Arteta could improve long term. As I said, he excels as a 10. A lot of what we talk about, when we get away from looking at a striker, a winger, or a central forward, would be someone who can deputise for Martin Odegaard. Yes, on the face of it, we have Emil Smith-Rowe, we've got Fabio Vieira, but again, there's speculation over their futures. And then you look at it, if God forbid something happens to Odegaard, who is going to play in that 10 role? My guess would be, Kai Havertz, who obviously finds himself playing up front purely because on the ball he can't match Odegaard's quality, but off it, in terms of the pressing, the intensity, and all of that kind of stuff, he would. So Dani Olmo would be someone that could feature in that. He can play off the left, so indirectly it's a multifunctional, adaptable player that can fill in roles. He can play off the right, and I do think he can play deeper in midfield, although I would describe his best position as the number 10. That's where I think he would work his best. But you look at him in the last few seasons, he hasn't really been playing there in a traditional sense. He obviously can play as a false 9, and, again, you could... I don't know where you'd be at with Kai Havertz, because in many ways he is a false 9, but in many ways when we go long and direct, he's a traditional one in that regards. But let's not get too complicated. You've got Kai Havertz there, you've got Trossard there, Gabriel Jesus is obviously an option on paper, you've got Eddie Nketiah, and there's scope of buying a striker. So he's a player that for Arsenal could be a jack of all trades, arguably not a master of none. But then you look through this Arsenal side, there's many players that can play in a number of roles. The Trossards, the Gabriel Jesuses, the technically Martinellis, the Martin Odegaards, the Kai Havertzes, the Fabio Vieiras, the Smith Rowes. I'm forcing it, but Zinchenko, Timber, Tomiyasu, all throughout the squad. Unless you're, Saliba, Gabriel, and obviously the goalkeepers, there's a number of players who can play or have had to play in a number of roles. And I think Olmo would complement our squad and make us better. And I do think, with a player like that who could act as somewhat of a link, I think the Bukayo Sakas, the new strikers, the current existing attackers would ultimately benefit from such. I think he's a very good player. If there's money to spend or money to go spare in the budget, he's someone I would at least inquire about, and something I would at least implore Arsenal and Edu and Mikel Arteta to have a look at. But I'm sure they've got it covered. I'm sure they know who they're looking to sign, people. But yeah, I'm just trying to humour you lot. If it was up to me, he'd be someone that would be on my list to at least inquire about, people. He's a player I love, but no doubt I'm sure there's a bunch of conflicting and different opinions that you guys have. Football would be boring, just like life, if we all thought the same and had the same points of view. So with that being said, people, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.